Hey folks, Coach Patrick here, Endurance Nation, online age group triathlon team, home of the world's fastest and largest triathlon team, creators of the 4 Keys of Race Execution, and home of the first time finish guarantee. Today is Monday, October 27th, a couple days before Halloween. Hopefully you are doing a better job of not eating your kids' Halloween candy than I am, because yeah, not so good. Anyway, hopefully you can smell the Kit Kat on my breath over the internet. So tonight, I want to talk a little bit about the OutSeason, because today, October 27th, is the official kickoff of our 8th OutSeason program, November OutSeason, number 8, numero ocho, very exciting. This marks sort of a big transition for us, going from an OutSeason program, which was really meant to fill the space between seasons, and then transitioning into something that has quickly become, inside the team, the most important part of your year. The OutSeason is the time when everyone else slows down, reduces expectations, reduces commitment, backs away from the sport, and people who join Endurance Nation are people who say, look, I can't train 20 hours or 30 hours a week like those guys over there or gals over there, but I can train 10 hours a week, and I can train 10 hours a week year round. And if I can train 10 hours a week for 50 weeks, right? 500 weeks a year, 500 hours a year, and you can train 25 hours a week, but you can only do that for like 20 weeks, then it's the same. The difference is that I'm training year round, another 30 weeks in your training, and the cumulative effect of my training is greater, more effective over time. And so that's what we do inside the team. We have a suite of workouts designed to raise your strength on the bike and on the run. But it's a little different than how everyone else handles things. So tonight, I want to talk about a couple of the key differences and hopefully answer some questions of people on the team who will be here tonight in the chat room with me, help them understand how to make the most of the OutSeason and really, prepare themselves for the 2015 proper season the best they can. So that said, let me head over to the chat room and just make sure that everyone's got me. So just bear with me a second here. All right. All right. So, first things first, the most important part about the OutSeason is to be ready to do the good hard work on the bike and the run. The reason why we focus on the bike and the run now is because those are those elements of our sport at the half distance or the full distance requires a great deal of volume. And that volume is very specific to our events, but is not necessarily the greatest tool for the age grouper to use to build their fitness. So we introduce a bit of variety in your training program by having you in the wintertime focus on intervals and higher intensity work. The reason why this works in the winter is because you have no volume constraints. There's no need for you to bike 3 hours right now. There's no need for you to run 2 hours right now. And so we turn off that volume, allow your body to recover a little bit, and challenge your system, your muscles in a different way by making you do lots of work at threshold. Threshold work is, in our world, zone 4, and typically mile repeats, 1.5 mile repeats, up to 2 mile repeats for the advanced folks. And on the bike, it's lots of intervals, anywhere from 8 minutes up to 20 minutes in the intervals during the week. We space the workouts by saying you're going to bike hard on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. You're going to run hard on Wednesday and Sunday. And then the other days of the week are rest. Monday and Friday are off. Speaking of which, the off days. Off days are hard for people. Off days are really hard for triathletes. Monday and Friday early on, people are filling those days with CrossFit, weightlifting, squat thrusts, whatever you might do. And by about week 6 to week 8 is when everybody kind of comes around and starts singing a very different song, which is, thank God it's Friday, TGIF, because I don't want to work out today because my legs are exhausted. I had great workouts this week, and I want to have good workouts tomorrow and Sunday, and so I'm going to chill it. And so the off day is a critical component of the winter OutSeason, not just from a training perspective, although selfishly, that's why I put it in there, but also because it gives you an opportunity to sleep in, right? How often do you sleep in, type A triathlete, Monday, Friday? And also to process the work that you've done. When you do a really hard session on the bike, say on Tuesday, and then again on Thursday, with a good run in between them on Wednesday, the fatigue you have in your system is super high come Friday. And the type of workout you'd be able to do would be pretty much garbage. So I want you to dial it back, take it easy, and recover so that on Saturday, you'll be able to hit that workout again at higher levels. Your fitness is only as good as you make it. And within the context of any individual interval, say, on the bike, let's say you've got a 20-minute interval, your fitness is really made in the last couple minutes of that interval. The first 3/4 of the interval is just setting the stage. Fitness happens at the end. So I want to have good quality end of interval time. And the only way to have that is to have the rest come in effectively on Mondays and Fridays. So please don't ruin your gains at week 8, 9, 10 through 14 in our 14-week OutSeason program by prematurely cutting out that rest. So what haven't I talked about? Well, I haven't talked about swimming. Swimming in the OutSeason is insanely high cost. For some people, it is a very social activity, and I get that. We're all social creatures. I would encourage you, unless you are an extremely poor swimmer, clinging to a lifeboat, like a lifeboat or a surfboard, for help to rest in a race, that you walk away from swimming for the winter. Look, it's just 14 weeks. It's just 3 months, 3.5 months. You can swim the other 8.5 months of your year, okay? But during this time, again, you get the opportunity to sleep. Most master's programs are extremely odd hours of the day, requiring travel, showering, etc., for non-specific workouts. Instead, you get a chance to recover, rest, and give your body a rest. People don't really understand the full cost of a complete triathlon training program where you're swim, biking, and running. Removing the swim is actually an opportunity for you to grow in the bike and run areas. There's plenty of time to inject that swimming later. And inside Endurance Nation, we do that in swim camp, okay, which is our exit from OutSeason program, exclusive just to people on the team, as a means of getting you back in the game, transitioning quickly on the swim while we recover on the bike and the run, and we head into the rest of your year. So I really encourage you to take time away from swimming. New for 2015 this year in the OutSeason is some specific core work and functional strength training work designed to prepare you for some good swimming at the exit to the OutSeason. So across the course of the OutSeason, while you're not swimming, there are a couple workouts that you'll be doing, short 10, 15-minute body weight, stretch core type workouts that can help you set the stage for some good swimming when that time is more appropriate for you in terms of building your fitness, okay? Now, folks, those of you listening in now, and I see there's a couple of you over here, who do we have tonight? Tonight we have David, Laura, Lindsay, Michael, Mr. Rich Strauss, what's up, Coach, and Bob. Would love to hear your questions. I see Bob chiming in here. Please put all your questions in the chat box. I'll go through them and answer them as we go. I want to talk just briefly about a few items of the OutSeason that normally don't come up until later. But for those of you who are paying attention, I'm going to give it to you now. Maybe you'll pass it on to your teammates. Maybe you'll answer some of your own questions later. And maybe you'll give me some good feedback on how I can improve this message for everyone else. So other elements of the OutSeason that don't come up early, but come up later. Number one is nutrition. For some reason, when people walk away from race season, they leave all of their nutrition behind. And they say, look, I'm just going to my basement for 45 minutes. Who needs to eat? I know I didn't eat all night because I was fasting as I slept. But I can't really eat in the morning before I work out. So whatever, I'm just going to get on my bike and ride as hard as I can. And then I'll go take a shower. So by the time I do eat, it's like 7:30. Last time I ate was 7 o'clock. So I've done 12 hours of fasting with a hard workout in there. How awesome do you think that is for your body? Not so much. Okay, remember, we're looking at the cumulative effect of your training. You can't miss a meal if you're going to be awesome as an athlete. I strongly encourage you to figure out your nutrition for the OutSeason. I don't eat any differently in the OutSeason than I do in season, which is to say that I have a gel on the 10-minute and 40-minute marks, and I drink sports drink as I go, generally a little less than I might otherwise drink, about 1 to maybe 2 bottles an hour, depending how long I'm going to go. The longer I go, the more that I drink. And as a result, my calories in season or out season are roughly the same. My body gets used to digesting those calories, and quite frankly, comes to depend on them. So in my world, I've got my morning ritual for times that I get on the trainer where I get up, have a cup of coffee waiting for me, and I'll eat half a Nature Valley granola bar, do some work, and then I go downstairs and get on the bike. And right away, I'm drinking my sports drink, gel at 10 minutes, even though I just had half a Nature Valley granola bar. Do my whole workout as I go. That's part of my warm-up. Continue with my second gel, cool down, come back up, have my recovery drink, have the second half of my Nature Valley granola bar, and I'm good until my mid-morning snack. okay? But for people who start to suffer or underperform in the out season, particularly between weeks 1 and week 6, where cumulative fatigue is not necessarily an issue quite yet, it's almost 9 times out of 10. 90% of the time it's nutrition related. So make sure you dial that in, okay? The next thing I encourage you to dial in is some level of entertainment. If you are indoors training, which many of you are, because we encourage you to test and train where you'll be able to test all year. And so today, even though it's beautiful outside, you should have tested on the trainer. It does get boring staring at the same 4 walls, kind of feel like a lab rat or something. So there's lots of opportunities for you to make things interesting. Some people put TVs down in their pain caves. I personally have a laptop where I can watch on YouTube any one of a number of cycling classics. And then inside Indoor Station, we also use Trainer Road for cycling workouts, which gives me an overlay of my Indoor Station out-season workout that I'm trying to achieve over the screen as I'm watching my video, like just kind of like a little ticker here at the bottom of the screen, which is awesome. Lets me achieve both things, keeps me interested and engaged, but also keeps my workouts on point, makes things more effective. For running, I don't really enjoy watching stuff because I get too distracted. Literally almost killed myself on a treadmill one year watching Sports Center on ESPN. Somebody was playing basketball and I nearly jumped off the treadmill inadvertently. So not so good for me there with the treadmill stuff, but I do have my music and plenty of fans and plenty of towels. So get your setup ready, get it done. I was down there this weekend getting it all set up. I don't start the out season for a little bit, but I've got it all dialed in. Some other things that you want to think about, okay? The next thing I want to talk a little bit about is one of our new additions for the training program, which is adding the functional core and strength work in. You know, we are your return on investment managers, and we do take that job seriously. I don't want to give you anything that's not going to lead to better improvement performance. And we decided this year to add some strength and functional training into the out season for a variety of reasons, but the biggest ones being you have more time in the out season to do this type of work, and you're more likely to do it when it's cold weather outside, whereas when it's nice and you're training more, you don't have the time, A. B, you can choose. I could sit here and do these exercises for 30 minutes, or I could just ride my bike for 30 more minutes. That kind of workout is always going to win. And 3, we want that strength before you get to the in-season part. I want your core, you know, your abs, your glutes. I want everything firing, your lower back. I want it all nice and right, ready to go. I don't want you to start working on that come May or April. It's too late. By that point in time, you're already transitioning outside. So if you think about your legs, for example, as the engine, right, that's driving your body down the treadmill or on the bike, right? It's driving your body. Your core right here is the connection. It's the kinetic chain linkage that allows that energy to be dynamically used. If you've got a weak midsection or a weak core, it doesn't really matter how hard you work. The energy transfer is going to be poor enough that you're going to lose a high percentage of your effort into the road itself and not see those results in your overall speed. So again, it's a little bit different this year, and people ask us, you know, what do I do? I want to do some strength training, et cetera. What's going on? And we've had some external or separate resources available in the past. And starting this year, Coach Rich did an awesome job building out a fantastic wiki page with tons of information and pictures, et cetera, for you to utilize to your advantage. So I strongly recommend you check those out. All right. So there you go. That's the end of my sort of big pitch on the out-season background, as well as how some key elements of the out-season I want you to approach, and some future questions you may be having about the out-season yourself. Of course, Coach Rich and I will always be here to answer your questions across the course of the week, but don't hesitate to ask us in the forums as well, or even here on this chat. So that said, super excited to see what your questions are. I know some of you have them. David, maybe Lindsay has one, Michael, Bob, who knows? So Bob says, even though it was unseasonably warm, 81 degrees and sunny, I did my bike test on my trainer. Since this winter, I can't imagine biking outside. I want to compare apples to apples, and I assume this was the correct decision. Bob, absolutely the right decision. It is very tempting to ride outside right now and to just get in one more nice session, especially the fall. There's something magical about this time of year in terms of riding, just like spring. I don't know whether it's the transition period or what, but the net is it's super nice, but it's not effective. And there's nothing worse than having someone come to me in week 8 and saying, here's my results from week 1 that were this, and here's my results from week 8 were that, and they don't make sense. And I'm not sure what's happening. Am I fitter or am I losing fitness? And so I'll dig in a little deeper and say, okay, well, what was the test like? Where'd you do it, et cetera? And you find out that the tests were done in 2 different places, 2 different times, entirely 2 different settings, not comparable at all. It's almost impossible to tell whether or not they built fitness because people don't necessarily read the manual early on and don't do the right work. So that is absolutely the right work, as hard as it is to be on the trainer when it's 81. It's good preparation for racing in Hawaii also, just as a random aside. I see Jamie Fields has joined us. Jamie, if you have questions about the out-season or your out-season training, I totally welcome them. One of the questions that I get a lot, and I'll fill in the space here, is adjusting workouts in the out-season. How should you adjust workouts? I kind of view there's 2 types of adjustments. One is like a regular weekly adjustment. Some people just do better working out during the week than they do on the weekends. So for example, I've done this in the past as well. I moved everything a day forward. So instead of a Monday off, I have a Sunday off. And the Monday on the calendar is actually my Tuesday. So I do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but I do that on my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. My Thursday is off during the week. And then Friday is my Saturday ride. And Sunday is on my Saturday run. And the result is that I have that Sunday off as well. So I get Thursday and Sunday off in my general week, and that helps me a lot. Some other people have other commitments that are perhaps more dynamic or more weekend-centric, where they'll say, you know what, Saturday, Sunday, family time, I don't have a lot of time then. So how do I invert my week? How do I make sure that this works? In that case, I try and flip things around a little bit and let people do the quality work during the week as best they can. Sometimes they have to cut those longer workouts a bit short, but they get the chance to do the work on the weekends from the shorter weekday workouts that have been transferred there as another opportunity for them. Some people enjoy taking external classes like comp trainer classes, etc. I'm not against that, but I do recommend that you track your data yourself as much as you can. Do your best to keep the conditions as similar as possible, given that you are in another setting, and do your best to correlate that data with your own personal data devices, whether it's your own power meter, your own heart rate monitor, so you can take the sort of physiological lessons learned from a course like that and transition them to your own training. I would hate for you to leave that in the lab, as it were, and not have it with you. Okay. David Cheney's got something for us. What's up, David? David says, I just bought my first trainer. I'm not sure how much wear and tear is normal for my wheel. Can you give me an idea? And how long should a tire last, or when to replace it? It's a great question, David. You'll notice that a tire is ready for replacement when the tread on the back of the tire, I'm trying to think of something I have that's even remotely round. Here's a good example. So the normal, let me turn so I can see the camera here. Okay, so this is not ideal, but it's all that I've got. So a normal tire tread, when you look at it from here on the end, kind of has a rounded edge to it. You can imagine this being on the back of a tire. So your tire has a rounded edge. The more that you ride it, the more that gets worn down, and it turns into something that's more like say this mouse. It becomes very flat and round, almost stunted. So the tire is getting worn down there. You'll also notice if your tire is getting old that it's kind of getting dry or a little brittle, or maybe perhaps even a little cracked. And so from a trainer perspective, the trainer will quickly start to wear that tire down. You'll see it get kind of shiny and push back a little bit. In general, I don't change my tire on the trainer unless it goes flat. I basically ride my in-season tire on the trainer. So I take my training tire from 2014, say, it's on the bike right now, and I'm gonna ride that thing into oblivion this winter. And then when I come to the transition outside again, then I put the new tire on. I'm not gonna wear it down on the trainer anymore, and I have an opportunity to get outside some fresh tires. So if you often change, if you often say, go out on Sunday for an easy ride outdoors, but you're indoors the other days, you may have some conflicts with a worn down trainer tire and transitioning that outside and back and forth. But in general, you should be all right. Some people splurge and get like a solid, I don't know if they still have these things, but a solid rubber tire, so no tube, like literally it's just a hunk of rubber made for your bike and it sits in the wheel. I've heard people use those before. Whatever you use, as long as it's consistent, you'll be fine. That's the best thing. We just don't want to We don't want to change things up or have to move things around too much. Okay, that's a great question. You know, also for your trainer, hopefully you have a riser block on the front to get the front wheel up. You do want to make sure the resistance stays similar every time you do it, ideally. And you will notice that with a trainer, as it warms up, the first 6 to 8 minutes, for me at least, it's a little bit easier until the friction builds up and the heat gets there, and then the trainer kind of settles in and grabs that wheel, and then I have some solid bite. So that is a transition you should be noticing as you go, as you get on there. And you know, in between workouts, I leave my bike in the trainer, but I do release that tension on the rear wheel. I don't leave it on the wheel. Finally, one of my pre-ride flight checks for indoors is just checking the tire pressure. I just want to make sure that the tire pressure is set at a proper level, and I don't want to do any workouts where the pressure is lower, because the resistance will be different, obviously, on my trainer tire as well, which is super helpful. Even though you're riding inside, you still got to do that flight check, which is crazy. Anyone else have questions? We'd love to hear from Laura or Michael. Bob, good questions from you. Here's something for you guys. A huge part of our out season is setting goals. And you may have some goals for yourself. I really encourage you to write those goals down. Don't hesitate to ask your team for input or to write something up in the forums. But the coaches will also have goals for you as well. Coach Rich does your bike power goal, and I do your run pace goal. And so when you submit your test results, we also want you to head over to what we call the heads I win, tails you lose thread. No matter which way it goes, I still win, you still lose. You give me your number, you give me your height, your weight, your age, years in the sport, and I take that and I throw it in the prognosticator, and it spits out a new number for you. And that's your target number that I'm giving you as your goal to achieve, the bar to attain. Should you attain that bar, you reward me for that motivation by buying me a Starbucks card. Should you not hit that bar, then you still reward me for motivating you and getting you much fitter than you were when you started. It's just a good tool, a way to keep honest, and an objective way for us to support and stay on top of your progress on the numbers that matter, not daily workouts. I don't care about daily workouts. I care about you moving that fitness needle. And no matter what life does, the throws at you, it's that number that matters the most, okay? Bob's got something here for us. I use a separate old wheel with its own cassette on my trainer. Easy to just change the wheel to put on the bike trainer. That's awesome. That's a great idea. So if you are going to ride indoors route, you can just swap that bad boy on and off. That's totally fine. Another question that comes up in the out season is, should you do the road bike or should you do the tri bike? To each their own, and some people only own one, and so your decision is made for you. In my world, I ride my road bike on the trainer and all winter and spring. My tri bike is the work bike. That's the time when I think about putting my head down and going really, really fast. And I don't want to do that all year. It's a special thing for me. It's like my convertible, if you will, if I ever own one thing like that I bring out in the summertime. The weather's nice and I want to show off. But otherwise, I'm in my beater, which is my road bike, and I'm killing myself. The road bike geometry is definitely different, but the basic mechanics of cycling really is not that different. And I find I can push a little harder and it's more fun, especially when riding outdoors. I just love riding my road bike. So much more you can do on a road bike, so much more comfortable than being on a tri bike. And so if you have the opportunity, I recommend that you do install that road bike and ride that bad boy away. And save your tri bike if possible for that final 12-week build or something into your key race, okay? That's another good one that doesn't come up very often. Another element that we have about the out season that I really recommend, not everyone does it, but we do have standard bike and run warm-ups, and I do recommend that you do them in the out season. The standard bike warm-up is about 25 minutes long. It's got 5 minutes of easy spinning, 3 minutes of standing in a bigger gear, 2 minutes of spinning easy again, then 12 minutes in zone 3, and then 3 minutes easy. And what we're looking for here, the first 12 minutes, we want to look at your power, make sure you're riding at your zone 3 effort. We're going to watch your heart rate, and we're going to look at your heart rate for that last minute. I want you to compare that heart rate for the last minute across all future set warm-ups with your power in zone 3 and your heart rate in that last minute. And quickly, you'll be able to discern when you're rested and when you're not, because that heart rate will either, watts come and go, maybe easy or hard day, but look how hard your body's working, which is represented by your heart rate. And we'll see that some days that those watts come easily and your heart rate's fine. And other days, those watts are just so much work, your body's totally dehydrated, beat down, exhausted, whatever it may be. So if that's the case, I definitely want you to recover and dial that workout back. On the run, the warm-up is very similar. It's about, I want to say about 10 minutes, kind of loosey-goosey. And then we do 12 minutes again at zone 3, last heart rate, last minute heart rate, and then 3 minutes easy. And then you get to do your actual workout. Again, zone 3 time, it's quality time, but it's not so hard you're devastated. It's actually a great warm-up. And I prefer that to, you know, pickups at like super 5K, 1K pace or anything like that. I think that zone 3 area is perfect for warm-up. And again, you get to compare your heart rate at effort, and that gives you an opportunity to discern whether or not you're really absorbing work or not. Again, I'd much rather you take a day off early and then come to me and say, I missed this day, how do I fix it? Than to say to me, you know what, Patrick, I've been exhausted and the workout numbers are going backwards, but I kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And now, you know, I've got chronic fatigue, or I've injured my leg, or I have no mojo, I don't want to work out anymore, whatever it is. All right, so I want to be careful with that too. Let me head over and see if you have any last minute questions, and then I'm going to cut this off at 9 o'clock. My cat apparently is going insane over there. She's done hearing about the OutSeason, so I can't go on too much longer. This is your last chance, folks. You know, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time or watching this for the first time, this is something we do every week for our member athletes, an opportunity to connect directly with the coaches live, ask questions, check in with us. Of course, we're also in the forums and online every day, answering people's questions there. But sometimes, you know, hearing a person or seeing a person is also nice. And I enjoy this opportunity to just see who's attending, get a sense to know you a little bit better, hopefully answer some of your questions, and overall do a better job of supporting the team. So that said, I think we are done. So I will wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are interested to learn more about Endurance Nation, you can create your own free 7-day trial at endurancenation.us/join. Those of you on the team who are in attendance tonight, remember you can have your friends join as well. Some awesome referral bonuses for you to get your friends on the team. Plus, not to mention it's awesome to be able to train alongside your friend, whether it's the out season or in season. There's nothing like having someone on site to help motivate you. So let us help you, help us help you. Get your friends on board, get them in the trial, they get a free month, you get a free month, everybody wins. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Coach Patrick from Endurance Nation, the world's largest, fastest online triathlon team, home of the 4 keys of race execution and the first time finish guarantee. Hope you enjoyed tonight's chat. If you have any other questions, please hit us up on Facebook at facebook.com/Endurance Nation or on Twitter at twitter.com/TEN. This is Coach Patrick. I'm signing off. I'll see you guys online or on the races. See ya.